All right, my peoples, check it out. I got a couple of Stephen King books that I kind of enjoyed over the years. They're kind of the ones that I read first from him by no choice of mine. I did grab It first, that big book, It, and I DNF'd it. I didn't finish it. I read about 120 something pages, and I was just like, okay. I put it down. It was very good. I just couldn't commit myself to like the very long nature of that one, and I also saw the movies, which got in my way a little bit. But these are short. They're kind of all quick reads from him, and I actually enjoy that when you're first getting into a author. When you have like quick reads from that author, because sometimes the length of a book can just inundate you, and Stephen King can wander and meander and kind of keep going and going and not really move plot. And when he does just straightforward stuff, I kind of enjoy that more from him. These aren't like rules or anything. This is just my preferences. So I'll give you the first book that I read from him, which is Carrie. Now, Carrie is a really quick little read. It has horror elements. It has characters in it that are very uncomfortable to be around. There are things that harken to abuse, bullying. It's kind of a teenage, high school almost story. There is a prom, there's disaster, and there is a very, very enjoyable main character who you feel for as you're kind of reading the book. And it does build. He uses some unconventional techniques in here, like reporting from like a newspaper kind of. So take what you will with that. This was supposed to be thrown out. You know, this is what I heard about it. That Stephen King's he didn't like it, so he took the story and he threw it in the garbage. His wife took it out of the garbage, sent it to the producer or whoever does that, publisher, and then they released the book. So he didn't like it himself. And then it ends up getting released, and this is the one that I think put him on the map. You know, it says #1 bestseller. Must be true. Anyway, Carrie's really cool. It's not like pure horror, scary stuff, but there's like one character in here that I really don't like being around, and she just like every time you're in that scene with her, she's like captivating in a very horrible way, and the relationship between Carrie and her mom and just the way it all goes down. Really do enjoy this as a quick read. It's pretty good work from Stephen King. He knows how to take like I don't necessarily like slice of life, but like he knows how to take like relatable characters and just like have them talk, and using very simple means of just like having them talk and then weaving things into like the whole story as you go. It's just interesting the way he writes. Now, these aren't really his like horror stories, right? There's if you want to go straight to that horror story stuff, I like his short stories because that just gives you a taste of what he's capable of. You have Night Shift. That is a bunch of short stories. I don't have the book because I gave it away. You'll see another book on this list I also gave away. So Night Shift from Stephen King is a really nice little collection of his short stories. On a road trip, I listened to the audiobook as well. Very fun time. A couple of those stories were great. But anyway, I'll show you a couple more and what's going on with this one. So, Roadwork. Roadwork is a Richard Bachman book. Okay, who's Richard Bachman? Before Stephen King was Stephen King, he was releasing as Richard Bachman. Maybe it's a pen name. I don't know the lore behind it. But I do know that I enjoy almost all of the Bachman books. More than I even enjoy his well-known stuff. Roadwork is like a crescendo of frustration and instability on this one guy who just is driven to like a little bit of desperation as he tries to keep his house. Okay, let me tell you where the context is for that. So he's in the grieving process. Family members of his have died, so his son. And his life is like it's reached its pinnacle, and now he's just like on a just a down slope. He's trying to hold on, but he's at like the lowest of lows, right? So it's a heavy story. And you get this like crescendo effect, this boiling as the book goes on. It just boils and boils and boils as this guy starts to get a little bit more and more desperate going forward. Okay, so he goes to a gun store. There's a gun on the cover. Basically, he's very frustrated that there's going to be a highway built in his town, and the highway's going to be built right where his house is. So the state, the government is like stealing his house from him, and he's just like, it's really frustrating. I mean, imagine in his shoes, in a deep grieving process, alcoholism, the mental component just starts to build up like crazy, and he starts to get pretty unstable. And my humor is really dark, so I got like a big kick out of this book as it was going. I was just like, I was like laughing at how absurd this man was. You get the inner functions of his mind, and like you see him interacting with people and like hearing his thoughts, what he's not saying, and like these people have no idea they're interacting with this like guy he's like a time bomb, this man. And he's doing his best. He really is still doing his best. He's trying to like absolutely keep it together. He's trying to keep his house. He's trying to fight the government while he's trying to grieve from inside. He's taking pressures from all angles, right? They're trying to take his house away to build a highway through his house, to knock his house down, to erase him. I really enjoyed this, okay? I don't know if everyone's gonna. I don't hear much people talking about it. I don't even think it gets ranked like in anyone's top fives, but I enjoyed this. I like how he writes when he does this kind of thing. Let's go into the same direction. So, The Running Man. I enjoyed The Running Man. It is a dystopian future America, and we have game shows. Think of these cities now at this point. The cities are like these endless mega cities, like they're megalopolis. They're like all encompassing massive like sprawls of cities, like with poor people like crazy, like poverty's insane. This guy in the story is just like he's trying to make ends meet, and he's like, you know what, let me put my ass on the line. And he goes and he joins this TV show, like contestant reality show, where you run from the government for as long as you can. And I think if you reach a month, if you can stay alive for a month, you can win $1 billion. So they say no contestant survives longer than 8 days. It's brutal. They chase you down. They have a lot of ways to get you and find you. I might even say it's rigged. I think that this story has a lot of commentaries built into it on like what we experience in the human experience in our own society, and how things, if you take them to an extreme, like how we value so much violence, right? We value, and like we're kind of desensitized as a country, as people, not just a country, because all around the world I think violence has been part of human history. So it's not really just us, you know, it's a major part of human history. And I think it's like a big commentary on that stuff, but sci-fi, this guy's on the run. It's like an action movie. Definitely different touch than he usually does. You know, there's no like sense of dread or monsters or any spooky supernatural stuff. It's a guy running from like a TV show that's organized to kill people within a month of them escaping. And if he wins, he gets it all. His life is made. And I really liked how it ended. I liked all the messaging in it. I just liked how it all went down. And I think it was fun. It was an interesting read to me, and it made me think a little bit about things. But I think there's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie too, so you could probably go watch that in supplement to reading it. All right, cool. Check out The Running Man if you want to do something different, or if you've been reading Stephen King and you skipped his Bachman books, go check them out. They're a little bit different. Let's talk about, I have 2 Bachman books in here. Well, there's 4 in this compendium, but basically here. Let me try to get it for you. Rage is the first one. Oh, I got it nice on the back. All right, please. Yeah, there we go. So Rage is the first one. That's banned in like America, I think, or even around the world. The Long Walk, which was my favorite Bachman book. I think I will talk about that next. Roadwork, just talked about it. Running Man, just talked about it. So The Long Walk, what I really like, that one is like another game show, dystopian, like mega government kind of like alternate future where all you have to do is just walk as long as you can, and the last person that's still walking is going to win a major prize. So it's a little different than The Running Man. It's like the entire story takes place with a character who just starts walking on this reality show, and he just continues to walk, and that's it. He makes it work. From there, the whole story is just them walking, and it's not boring at all. It's actually brutal and fun, and I really think that it was like one of his heavier reads that I really felt and like really enjoyed that. The way it ends and everything, it's a great one. I gave my book away because I liked it so much that somebody was like, oh, what do I read? And I was like, try this. So The Long Walk's my favorite Bachman book, which is Stephen King. Rage, I liked a lot too, but I can't really push it on anyone because it's banned. It has like gun violence and schools, so it's not really great, in everyone's hands. But just because it has that element doesn't mean that it's pushing that ideology at all. It's actually a very clever Lord of the Flies kind of book. But unfortunately, those two things, a gun and a school, that's why it got itself banned. I don't know if he banned it as well, or he tried to pull it from shelves. I think he might have, because we just have that issue going on like crazy in our country. But Rage, I got a copy of it. I think this is pretty rare, this Bachman Books compendium. I got it like 7 years ago for like $45. It was like the only one I could find, the only way to get Rage. It was very interesting. All these Bachman books are so different. And then there's other stuff from him that I like as well, back to his Stephen King roots. This came later, The Shining. I almost don't even need to say anything about this. If you've seen the movie, you have to read the book. You probably love it. It's that same element where madness just increasing over time in the story, right? That the way it kind of corrupts your character who's trying to do better, and he's trying to turn over a new leaf, and then they just continue to go further and further up that madness insanity kind of thing, and just intensity builds. It's really got a nice tone if it's getting cold out. So I'm in the middle of summer right now showing you this. I think you could still read it, but if there's snow on the ground outside and you're halfway through this book, you're doing great. Definitely have to recommend The Shining. Okay, it takes place in a hotel in the mountains, snowed in, desolate, just far away from any other people, and you have this family that's caretaking the hotel and the goings on of that hotel, which may or may not have supernatural components to it. Very cool. This one builds dread very well. The way my humor is, some things are funny to me, and that building of insanity, I get a kick out of it. When the characters just start going batshit crazy, I find myself laughing and stuff. So, see if you enjoy it like I do. The Shining. Alright guys, that's it for today. I just wanted to show you a couple of my Stephen King grabs. I like a lot of different things from him, like Pet Sematary, Cujo, all that stuff is great too, but I think everybody already has Pet Sematary and Salem's Lot. All that stuff's already in top 5 lists. But for me, it isn't in mine. I don't vibe with that side of Stephen King as much. I really vibe with this Richard Bachman stuff, and I don't know, call me whatever about that. But I really do enjoy that different side of him. Any comments, questions, relatable, unrelatable, please comment. I love talking to you guys down there. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Thanks a lot, guys.